Welcome back to Arkansas Unsolved, the podcast where we uncover the mysteries, legends, and forgotten stories hidden throughout the natural state. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Heather. Today we're stepping inside one of Arkansas's most iconic landmarks, the historic Arlington Hotel in Hot Springs.
That's right. And for more than 150 years, the Arlington has welcomed presidents, celebrities, athletes, gangsters, and countless everyday travelers. But here, according to this, and according to many guests and employees, not everyone has checked out. It's kind of starting to sound a little bit like Hotel California, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like that reference or connection there.
Right, exactly.
So today we are diving into the lore of the Arlington Hotel, where history, mystery, and ghost stories have become part of the hotel's identity.
Now, weaving throughout this story, you're going to see some footage because we've been there, and not only do we want to add to the lore that we found, but we want to share what we experienced when we were there as well.
Right.
And so, the first Arlington Hotel opened in 1875, just across from the famous thermal springs. Now, the springs themselves in Hot Springs are mysterious and magical, and we'll be covering that in a separate episode. But the Arlington quickly became the premier destination in Hot Springs, attracting wealthy visitors seeking relaxation and healing.
That's
You
right.
know, it's amazing out there.
Yeah.
And here's where things begin to take a turn. After a devastating fire destroyed the second Arlington in 1923, the current Spanish Renaissance-style hotel opened in 1925. And ever since, it's been one of Arkansas's most recognizable buildings.
That's right. So imagine walking through those grand hallways, knowing that everyone from presidents and baseball legends to movie stars once stayed under the same roof.
Now, interestingly enough, if you've been to Hot Spring, you know that there is a gangster connection.
Yeah. So one of the Arlington's most famous legends centers around organized crime.
Ooh.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that term, organized
Organized crime. That's right. Not
So,
unorganized.
right. So during the early 1900s, Hot Springs earned the nickname the American Spa. But behind the luxurious bathhouses and the elegant hotels was another site of the city: illegal gambling, bootlegging, we talked about that the other day, and mob activity.
Now, we understand that Hot Springs was what was considered a safe zone. And so essentially what that
neutral.
means is that rival gangs would come and, you know, when they're in Hot Springs, basically it's like this is a safe zone. There's going to be no war. But
Right.
things and stories claim that the infamous gangster Al Capone regularly stayed at the Arlington. While historians agree Capone visited Hot Springs, local legend says he preferred a particular suite overlooking Central Avenue. And Heather, we went to the
We've
suite. As a
seen
matter of
that
fact,
suite.
we're going to cut to some footage for you to
Right.
see Al Capone's suite. This freaking bed is just here like this. We turn the corner. Boom, look at this. Looks like a freaking dead body.
Let's skip it. That's what it is. It's all the apparitions and stuff. No one want to go back to the room. That scared the living daylights.
Now, interestingly enough, some even claim hidden passages and secret meetings took place inside the hotel, though little evidence exists to support those tales. But now, how cool would that be if there really were secret passages
Oh, man.
for Al Capone and the other gangsters?
I believe it. You think about it. These gangsters come to this neutral
Right. In
town, neutral
yeah.
territory, they're gonna have little secret meetings.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
Do some secret things, secret stuff.
that is one cool thing. If you visit hot springs, there is way more history
So much.
about this whole gangster era, and very interesting to see. And so,
Right.
as it pertains to lore and history and things of that nature, you got to think gangster. You think crime. When you think crime, you think murder. And back
Murder.
then, you got to know that I'm sure it was much easier to get away with things
Oh my goodness.
than it is today.
100%. With lack of cameras everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
some
it's wild.
stuff going on,
I
for
know.
sure.
So that makes me think that even the halls might be haunted. So now we arrive at the stories that made the Arlington famous. Employees and guests have
Yeah.
reported unexplained experiences for decades. Footsteps echo through empty hallways. Elevators stop on floors where no one is waiting. Doors, Heather,
Right.
open by themselves.
This one seems a little. Oh. Wow.
It's different.
Lights begin to flicker without explanation, and cold spots appear in otherwise warm rooms. Now,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the previous episode we did, and that cold spot shows up again. It's crazy how, when it comes to hauntings or
Yeah.
paranormal, how the signs can be similar.
Right. Also, on our excursion through the halls of the Arlington when we stayed, and we've got the footage, as you said, I remember walking, and a few of those floors, I just remember it was cold. I remember being cold,
It's wild.
and I don't know necessarily if it was just a cold spot. Maybe it was the whole floor. I don't know, but
It's
cold. There's something to that.
Well,
There's something to that.
and the building is old. Again,
is old.
We know that the original was in the 1800s, but
Mm-hmm.
we know that this particular building that is rebuilt in the exact same spot has been
Right.
there since 1925, and
Yeah.
so a lot of the things are original to that early 1900s era. And
It looks like it. I mean, you can tell.
It looks, it smells, it
Right,
feels like
right.
everything. It's wild.
Yeah, I love it. I love going to stay
I
at
know.
Arlington.
I know.
So, one of the most common reports, here we go.
Here it is.
Are y'all ready for it?
Here we go.
Involves seeing a well-dressed man from another era quietly walking the corridors before disappearing around a corner.
Wow.
Others describe hearing children laughing late at night, even though no children are staying nearby.
Wow.
Our young ones, our little ones, and I think this is when we were on our excursion with the two older girls roaming the halls and filming
Right,
and all that.
right.
They say they heard a scream,
I
a
know.
child scream. These are our two little ones.
Yeah,
So, and they weren't alone. They were with their abuela.
That's
so, interesting.
well,
Very interesting.
and it's, when you hear them say that, they're not going to make that up,
Right,
and
right,
so
right,
there's validity to that, and
Yeah,
so
yeah. They heard something.
that's exactly right, which made the whole experience even more eerie.
Right. Really did. All right, let's get into this because we have footage.
We do.
We've got the footage.
We've got it.
Room 824. Okay. Some paranormal investigators have focused on room 824, where guests have reported strange noises, moving objects, and the feeling of someone watching them. Although there's no documented tragedy connected specifically to the room, its reputation continues to grow with every news story.
Right. Now, it kind of reminds me of, what's that movie with John Cusack? You
Oh,
remember it?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
404
something
or
like
something.
that. It's crazy.
Or he gets
and
stuck in the room and it's very psychological.
Yes, I mean that movie was freaky, and I don't know that he ever really got out.
No, I don't
but it
think so.
makes me think of that, and so room 824. If you've stayed in
824.
that room and you have some firsthand experience, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on that. But Heather, there's more because the legend continues. Another legend involves guests walking to find furniture moved overnight or hearing phantom conversations coming from empty rooms. Skeptics point to an aging historic building with old plumbing, antique elevators, and creaking floors, but believers say it's something much more.
I believe that.
Freaky.
So here's another one. This is one of the oldest stories told by Arlington employees.
Wow.
Is about a woman dressed in elegant clothing from the early 1900s. Guests have described seeing her sitting quietly in the hotel lobby late at night. She appears completely normal, so normal, in fact, that no one thinks twice about her.
Wow.
Until they look away. When they look back, she's gone.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Some witnesses say she simply vanishes. Others claim she walks toward the grand staircase, it really is grand.
Oh.
And she disappears before reaching the first landing. No one knows who she is. There are no records identifying a particular woman connected to the sightings, but her description has remained remarkably consistent over the years.
That's freaky, you know? I mean, and I think they refer to her as the lady in the lobby.
The lady
and so
in the lobby.
I can see that, you know, and you got to think when you're traveling, you know, you're probably not paying attention and you're just, but it is
Right.
crazy to think that you see what you believe to be a real person and a real guest, only to look back and to realize, wow, she's gone. So
Maybe while we were there, we saw her and didn't know.
I know, right? We saw the lady in the lobby.
Yeah.
Well, and ironically, there is more at the Arlington Hotel,
So much.
and there is said to be a phantom ballroom. Imagine lying in bed just after midnight. The hotel is quiet. Then you hear music. Not modern music, big band, soft piano, the sound of couples dancing. Several guests have reported hearing what sounds like an elegant party somewhere inside the hotel. Now, here's where things begin to take a turn. When they investigate, the music stops. The ballroom is empty. No celebration,
Wow.
no orchestra, just silence. And some believe these stories are simply echoes of Arlington's glamorous past when dances and formal events filled the hotel nearly every weekend. But others wonder if those celebrations somehow never really, truly ended.
Wow.
Eerie.
Yeah. That makes me think of another movie. Maybe Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship. Oh my
that
gosh.
the
I, I was just going to say Ghost Ship.
Yeah, where
Wow.
everyone is so elegant, beautiful
Yes.
party.
And they don't realize, like, they're all
Oh,
ghosts. You know,
man.
it's like, that is
Can't
wild.
do it. All right, so there's more, guys. There's
Gosh.
so much history, mystery.
All of
Here.
this is lore of the Arlington
The
Hotel
Arlington
in Hot
Hotel.
Springs, Arkansas. Wild.
So this one, perhaps the most heartbreaking legend,
Oh.
involves the spirit of a young girl. Guests have reported hearing a child giggling in otherwise empty hallways. Some claim they've seen a little girl in a white dress standing near a doorway before disappearing. Others describe tiny footprints appearing on freshly cleaned
Wow.
floors only to fade moments later. There's no documented historical event tying these sightings to a specific child, but that hasn't stopped the stories from spreading.
Wow.
Many employees say the little girl never seems frightening. Instead, she seems curious and playful.
Wow. When you think about a child, you don't necessarily think about a menacing spirit. And, you know,
Right.
we say this probably, and we'll say this nearly every episode, and that's that we do believe in a spirit realm. Now, as always, it's up to you to decide what you truly believe. But as for you and I, we know that the spirit realm exists, and what exactly that looks like, we obviously
We
don't
have
know.
all the answers.
But it's wild to think, and so that is heartbreaking to think of a young girl
Right, right.
staying trapped in the Arlington. And there's more lore. We hear about what's called the housekeeper story at the Arlington, and one of the most repeated employee stories involves a housekeeper preparing a room for arriving guests. She finished making the bed, folded fresh towels, straightened every piece of furniture, then stepped into the hallway to retrieve her cleaning card. Well, Heather, when she returned seconds later, the bed covers had been pulled back. A chair had moved several feet across the room, and the bathroom light, previously turned off, was glowing. Could another employee have entered?
Man.
Possibly. But no one admitted to it. Stories like this have become part of the Arlington's folklore for years and years. And what's ironic and what makes this, we talked a couple of episodes back about something that validates these stories is that people experience them over and over. And this particular piece of lore has been witnessed and told kind of in this same manner by many,
Right.
many different employees throughout
Right.
the years.
Yeah. To me, like we said before, yes, things can get passed on as, oh, that's cool. Let's just make something up
Right.
to go along with it. But there's too many. There are too many for that to be the case, I feel.
Yeah, that's right.
So, okay, let's talk about the fourth floor.
Which we went to, by the way.
Which we went to, okay? And our girls were kind of telling us, oh, this is the lure here. This
Right,
is what. They
right.
were so excited. So ask enough Arlington employees about unusual activity, and eventually someone mentions the fourth floor. Some guests describe hearing conversations just outside their rooms, only to discover an empty hallway. Others report hearing doors slam repeatedly, even though security cameras show no one nearby. One guest claimed they woke around 3 in the morning to hear someone slowly walking toward their room. No, thank
Well,
you.
3 in the morning. Well, before we move on, is that the witching? Is it 2 or is it 3? It's just
I think
weird.
it's 3.
That struck me that
I
3
do
in the
think it's
morning.
3.
You know,
It is.
wow,
And that's what they call it, the witching
the
hour.
witching hour. To my knowledge, now I don't know the history behind that per
Not
se,
yet.
but
We
not
don't know yet.
But we will solve.
We will.
right here on Arkansas Unsolved.
Yes. So the footsteps stopped directly outside the door. There was a pause.
Mm.
Then 3 slow
Oh
knocks.
gosh.
When they opened the door, no one was there.
Wow.
That's the fourth floor.
That's freaky.
And I think we zeroed in on one particular room. I can't remember the number.
I can't either, and I don't know why we did that, but
Because the girls, they told us they knew something. So we'll have to
yeah, we'll have to. Hopefully,
our-
we can find that.
footage.
You know, we decided to do this. We've been to the Arlington a couple of times, and the footage that we're going to include in this episode is actually from a previous trip. But there is certainly something nostalgic about it. And again, we're not telling you what to believe, but certainly if you have an opportunity to go, we believe that you'll feel that same sense. If nothing else, you'll feel the nostalgia. You'll
Oh,
feel
yeah.
that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and so many people have come to Hot Springs throughout the years. We're going to take some time to cover Hot Springs. There is so much
There's so
history.
much.
We're zoning in and honing in on the Arlington specifically this time, but there's so much to discuss about Hot Springs, and so we'll fill you guys in on some of the other history there. But Heather, there's
Yeah.
more lore when it comes to the Arlington. Others have
Yeah.
told us about a man in black. So another recurring figure is a tall man dressed in dark clothing. Unlike the elegant gentleman we mentioned earlier, this figure rarely appears clearly. He's usually seen only in reflections, a mirror, a window.
Mirrors.
It's crazy. It really is. The polished doors of an elevator. Witnesses turn around expecting someone to be standing behind them, but there's no one there. Some paranormal investigators believe multiple spirits are said to inhabit the Arlington, not just one. And skeptics argue that antique mirrors, low lighting, and long hallways can easily trick the human brain into seeing patterns that really aren't there. And so when it comes to the man in black, the mystery
Yeah.
remains unresolved. It's
Wow.
wild.
Wow. And the Arlington it is grand.
It is.
Like you feel the grandness of it, and you think of it back in its heyday, how it may have looked. Because like we said, a lot of the stuff they've kept, try to restore and make it nice, so for people to come and stay. But it's very grand. Lots of mirrors,
Right.
and there's something too about mirrors. They have their own.
A lore or mystery to the.
Yes, right.
So,
Right.
gosh, my mom used to tell me that one of my grandmothers, I think it was my mom's mom, that she would put towels and stuff
Cover
over
them up.
mirrors. And I don't know if it was at all times or if it was just, but yes, they were very, very spiritual in that regard. Like Mom has told, and we'll feature some of those things here. But yeah, the Hispanic culture is really steeped in that type of lore and things of that nature. So you're right. I say that just to validate your point when it comes to mirrors and windows. It can be seen as doorways into things. And
That's
so
true. That's
it's really, it's wild. It really is.
Right. Okay, here's some more.
Oh, there's more.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
So, one legend that employees still occasionally share involves mysterious telephone calls. Late at night, the front desk would receive calls from occupied rooms
Wow.
requesting towels, blankets, or room service. Staff members would deliver the items only to discover the room was empty, or worse, the guests checked out hours earlier.
Wow.
Modern digital phone systems have made these stories less common, but the older employees still remember hearing them. Whether they were mechanical glitches, practical jokes, something stranger, no one can say for certain.
That is wild. Can't imagine getting a phone call only to
No,
go to an empty
no,
room. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, because those, I mean, it's directly connected to, the line is connected to that room. So they know that someone from that room made that call.
That's right. Well, and there's so much lore and history about the Arlington in particular. And so what's fascinating about the Arlington isn't one particular ghost story.
Right.
It's not one spectacular ghost story. It's the sheer number of ordinary people who've experienced something they couldn't explain. A sound,
Right.
a shadow, a face in the hallway, a knock on the door. None of these stories alone prove the paranormal. However, Heather, together they've created nearly a century of legend and mystery and lore.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long span of
Gosh.
time. That's a lot of people.
Really is.
It's hard to say it's all hogwash.
Right. When that many over the
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
have reported so many of the same
That's
things.
right. That's right.
it.
Maybe that's what makes the Arlington different. The ghosts aren't monsters, they're echoes, right? Echoes
wow.
of guests who once danced beneath crystal chandeliers, employees who spent decades caring for the hotel, travelers who came searching for healing.
Wow. Oh my
We're
gosh.
gonna talk about that
Oh
one.
yes,
Yes.
there's so much
much.
with that, y'all.
Perhaps they're simply stories passed from one generation to the next until they become part of Arkansas history itself. Whatever the explanation, the Arlington Hotel continues to invite visitors from around the world. Some come for the history, some come for luxury, and some come hoping they won't be the only ones checking in.
That's exactly right. And so, Heather, we've come to the
Right.
point in the podcast where we ask ourselves, is this fact versus folklore? And here's what we know,
Yeah.
Heather.
Tell us.
The Arlington Hotel has witnessed fires, economic booms, notorious visitors, and more than a century of Arkansas history. The ghost stories, those come almost entirely, listen to this, those come almost entirely from eyewitness accounts and local tradition. No scientific evidence has confirmed paranormal activity, but no one has fully explained the countless stories either. So,
Right.
which is it?
Sometimes, and we've talked about this before, the mystery is what keeps a place alive, right? Every guest adds another chapter. Every strange experience becomes another legend. Yeah?
It really is.
So, whether you visit for the history, the architecture, the famous hot springs, there's so much.
God, there
Or maybe
really
the
is.
guest, the Arlington, the ghost, the guest ghost, the ghost guest.
The guest ghost and the ghost of the
Yes.
guest. I'm not
the
sure.
Arlington Hotel remains one of Arkansas's most fascinating destinations.
Well,
I love hot springs.
Yeah, Hot Springs is a phenomenal place. And, you know, when they were talking about the healing properties, I'm really trying to dial it back because I want to save so much of that
Don't reveal
for
too
the
much.
episode that we actually cover the springs on.
Yeah.
But it is a scientific and a natural phenomenon. If you have ever been, the springs are hot to the touch. Imagine running your bath water and you have it as hot as you can. If you've never experienced a hot spring,
Yeah.
that's literally what it
different.
feels like. And the crazy thing about that is that it is done naturally. Do you remember how long it said? So the
Oh,
water
gosh.
essentially, it's
Years.
Yeah, it takes
it
years for that.
years
Can you explain that process just
go-
by memory? I don't.
So this is the Heather version. So
Yes.
don't quote me, okay? But we had a guide who
We had a guide.
we
Yep.
went through and learned some things. So essentially, okay, it rains, water seeps down into the ground all the way to the center where all the lava and the core
Absolutely,
and
that's right.
Okay, that's where it gets heated and stays heated. Pressure builds up, makes it come back up. That's why we have the hot springs that spew out. Years. It takes the water years to travel down, heat up, come back up. Still hot.
Hot.
Burning from traveling through the earth.
Y'all, it is.
It's
it
the
is-
wildest thing in the
It is
world.
absolutely insane. When we went in October one year, and we
Mm-hmm.
actually went on a haunted tour. Tour. I don't know.
Tour.
Tour. You got me saying
Toured.
things crazy. No, I'm kidding. But no, what I was going to say is there is so much history. And one of the things that we learned, and this is related to the Arlington, here's what's important. You have to understand that this is way before Google and WebMD and all of these things existed. So people truly believed that there were healing elements and properties in the springs.
Right.
So people would come from all over the world. Now, here's what you need to know. Think about this. People would travel by boat. It would literally take them months, some cases almost a year, to even get to Arkansas from where they were traveling from,
Right.
simply so they could get to the hot springs. And here's what we were told. And much of this happened in the Arlington. Because of the distances people were traveling, it's not like they could just go right back. Many would never leave.
They'd stay for months, years. Like you
And
said, some never left.
That's what I was going to say. As
So-
he told us, many, because they did come and they were sick. They were
Yeah.
trying to be healed from something.
Right.
They would die. And so we know that many of those actually died at the Arlington as well.
Right,
And so
right.
as we're discussing the lore, as we're discussing the legends and all of the weird things that make the Arlington and Hot Springs truly mysterious, you think about that.
Yeah.
And so even today, in the midst of all the modern technology
Right.
and modern medicine, I do believe there's still something special and magical, and there are healing elements in the springs.
Yeah, I believe it. I really do.
Crazy.
On that tour, just wanted to mention real quick,
Yes, please.
because we learned so many things.
So many things.
So many things.
We literally could break this up in
Yes. So
several
the
episodes.
hospital there has so much history
Oh, it's crazy.
and has to be haunted with all the things that happened and occurred there. And possibly we'll be covering that more in depth because it's a really, I hate to say it's a cool story because a lot of there's death and during the war and such, but there's so much history, deep history. I think it's important to keep telling these stories and passing it on.
Well, that's right.
So-
And it's not simply about the legend and the lore, but we know that it is the history that matters. And I think when we cover that hospital, I want to say that it was one of the first hospitals like in the United States.
It's government.
Government has something to do with
Government-owned.
that. So
The-
there's history there. And we heard a very chilling story on our haunted tour about that. We'll be covering that. But Heather, as it relates to the
Right.
Arlington,
Right.
we heard about the lady in the lobby. We heard about the man, the tall man dressed in black. And we heard about the fourth floor, the room service calls, the housekeeper's story. And there's so much more that we haven't heard.
That's right.
We
That's
want to
right.
hear from you. If
Yeah.
you've ever stayed at the Arlington or experienced something unexplained anywhere in Arkansas, we'd love to hear your
Yes,
story.
yes. And you might hear it featured on a future episode of Arkansas Unsolved.
That's exactly
You just
right.
might.
That's it. Amen. Until next time, we'll see you right back here on Arkansas Unsolved,
Unsolved.
brought to you by the Junto Podcast. That's right, the
Together
Podcast. Be blessed.